Someday I'm going to go back to Clinton, Arkansas.
That's where it was, right? I was trying to tell these kids the other night which town it happened in, and I said it's like President Clinton's hometown, but it was Clinton's.
His hometown is Hope.
Hope, okay.
It's just
Beyond.
His name is the same.
And that, you want to go back where that wreck happened?
No.
That's where we got direct.
We want to go through it so that we can get to Branson still. Didn't ever make it there.
And what's in Branson?
Lots of theaters
Missouri.
and
That's where all of the
show houses.
Are first.
Theaters and are they nightclubs? Is that what you call it?
Theaters.
They're theaters of shows. Even
That's
Lawrence
a dry
Welk
county,
used to have
isn't
it.
it, Dan?
Osmond's had one.
No.
Do they have legal
Willie
gambling
Nelson
there
has
as
one.
well?
I mean, there's big
No.
names that each have their own
Strictly
theater and
just
puts
the
on
theater
shows
and
all the way,
entertainment part of it.
through
Yeah.
the year. It's just an entertainment mecca of Missouri. But since we...
Didn't Wayne Newton put a place up there?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many I can't
After
tell
he-
you. I
after
think
he-
it takes more than one day, doesn't it? You know? Oh,
It
yeah.
has been in Vegas. He went to Branson. There's a lot of people put up their own places there.
Osmond
Yakov
had one
Smirnoff.
well, the Osmond brothers still perform there, and
Who else
Dolly
is
did
there?
have one, but she did Dolly World afterwards, so I don't think she still has hers.
Yeah, she still has it,
Does she?
but she just,
Back and forth.
Like right the door, sliding door.
she's not there that
Recharger
often.
plugged in with computers.
That's where
It's just
we
a
were
theater
at.
and
Yep.
they
Dad
feed
was
you.
one of them we got down there.
Give you a chicken and no pork, and
Oh, really?
I was grossed out.
Proves that chicken's a finger food, huh? If they won't even give you a fork. That's funny.
Well, it was like a baked chicken, you know, and it was greasy.
The
and,
full chicken?
well, what was it, Dean?
One of those Cornish
It was
hens?
a chicken, not one of Cornish hens. It was a chicken, but it was a small chicken.
What are we looking at?
And they didn't give you anything to
You
eat
handed
with.
this to
And I
me.
said, where's
I know,
the
hold it.
silverware?
Huh?
You don't get any.
Was it like one of those medieval tournament dinner shows, like at the Excalibur?
That's what it was.
What are we doing?
Just recording.
Yeah, where you're supposed to use your hands and kind of.
Oh, I'm supposed to like do
Well, I
this?
didn't like it.
No,
I don't either.
be much more subtle.
They give you one little pitiful napkin.
Here,
And,
why don't you
Oh,
take
my
this one?
goodness. And that was at Dolly's.
mhm.
Okay, I know that.
And I haven't been there since. My granddaughter loves going there.
But it's just on audio.
Your
But-
best
No, it's just doing voice.
It's
I don't have
a
enough
lot
memory.
of cowboy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can use my
Western
phone.
and
Uh-huh.
everything, yeah.
I
Get
was
some
gonna
video.
fill
It's
that up and then-
Those ones are
I'm not-
double
just so
A.
dark in here.
Yeah, I think it's two.
The charger.
Well, even
They're
after
double A.
my
Yeah.
dad
But I
died,
saw that
about
audio.
a
There's a
year
charger
later,
plugged
my
in
mom
and
went on a
Joe's telling me
trip,
good stories
But I
too.
don't know if it's double A or triple A.
Yeah, so we'll just
and she had a great time.
let it
Go from the
record
bedroom
and
next to the
let
fireplace.
people listen
I don't
later.
think I should look that long.
Well, most people really enjoy it. I think.
So you're
that
gonna
it's
hear me
not
talk
as
about
good as
Diet
it used to
Pepsi?
be, but
Yeah,
Probably.
and that's
I
what I
think
was
a
gonna
lot of
say.
the bigger
I don't like any of
stars
those
either
energy
have
drinks.
died or they're
He's
not there
recording.
anymore.
Well, and that
Everything.
year that we tried to go with you, they didn't even have their airport
Oh,
yet
let's do that
then.
without
That's
one.
how long it's been for
I don't know.
I don't know the laws
here.
a lot of
I guess we can get
development
adjourned.
since then and more
In Utah, it's
theaters
perfectly legal
built
for me
there
to
since.
Yeah.
inform
Well,
you.
you know, they built a big shopping
In Utah, it's
area
what?
down on
Also,
I don't have to
river.
tell you that I'm
Oh.
recording the phone calls.
So there's
Well, it's
really,
really
Yeah, but
called a lake.
this isn't a
Isn't it
phone
called a
call.
lake,
Like-
Dean?
I know,
Yeah, it's
Taneycomo?
Taneycomo Lake Taneycomo.
but
so
they
there's a
still
mall right
try and charge those
along
people that
everything
record
else.
police arresting people with
And they have
wiretapping.
water, you know, that goes up and down
They
to
do?
the music
Yeah.
and fountains and all
How is
that
that
kind of stuff
wiretapping?
out in the center of it.
That's a legal matter
It's kinda
that I
neat,
don't know,
but
but they use wiretapping laws
We go
to
to
try
a
and stop people from
restaurant
doing
there,
that.
El Patron or something like
Sounds
that.
like a
What is the name of that restaurant, Dan?
activist.
Yeah,
dream case.
It's not. It's based on state laws.
So what's that great big monster facility that they were building the last time I was up there down by Camp Williams?
That's gonna record everything.
Is that an NSA facility?
But at the point of the mountain, just over
Yeah,
on
just-
the west side.
On the west side, just it's in the same area where Camp Williams is.
Yeah, it's just across the street from Camp Williams, and
Just south of Williams, isn't it?
I think the main road is right there at the main entrance for Camp Williams.
Is it?
They've just made that an intersection, and it's a giant data
That
center.
is one monster
It's-
facility, I know that.
It's more than,
It was designed to hold 8 times the information that was on the internet when they built it.
Is it completed or are they still working on it?
It's completed and going, and
I haven't even heard of this. It sounds
and it's
scary.
not the only data center they
Sounds
have.
like a good
There's
target.
one up in Idaho.
Target.
it's very,
I think they've got a bunch, but they're
even those that work there to help
they're
the
capturing
others.
every text message and cell phone and
Oh,
email and
Yeah. Anything that you go on the internet with is
any
recorded.
electronic communication. And I don't know if they're tied into traffic cameras.
Does it have a name?
Well, I think they
Call
I
it?
think they are, because every vehicle that goes past these
Port of entry?
ICE immigration checkpoints,
Mhm.
they record every single license
Like
plate
all the
and,
license
and all
plate
of the
scanners.
information
Yeah,
about the
there were lots
vehicle.
of cameras. What was that one we came through?
But I know, like UDOT has, we have over 600 traffic cameras in Utah, and those are they're not recording, but they're all streaming.
You just don't know that they're recording.
I don't know that they're recording. Utah doesn't save a recording.
No, Utah won't say they're recording.
No. Well, they won't do it. They just won't save them. But if the NSA has access to that stream, there's nothing stopping them from recording it.
So what's the point of them if they're just streaming?
So they
To-
can monitor.
Big brother looking over your
view
shoulder.
traffic. So we
Like
can look
you
at the
said,
mountain
High in
passes
the
and
sky, Mandy.
we can see if it's snowing or raining. They can turn them and zoom them in, so if there's an accident, they can
I thought it was,
view that. But mostly it's just to watch traffic, see if there's an accident, see
I
if
didn't
there's
realize
snow.
that. I thought that if you had an accident, they could go to the camera and see what happened.
I
Uh-uh.
thought that too.
They don't record them because the liability, they would need a whole new department just to deal with attorneys. You know, divorce cases, saying, you know, was the husband driving past this street light at this time because he was having an affair? And somebody'd have to go search the records and find that camera and give them the video. So,
London, they record all theirs, don't they?
I don't know if London does. London's
I think they do.
crazy Big Brother. They open that up to citizens.
But see, they created some security system in New York City that was similar to what they have in Europe. So I wonder if they record in New York.
I know California's got they've got the picture taking, ticket giving cameras at streetlights. So if you run a red light, it'll take a picture of your license
Doesn't Utah
plate.
use those?
Uh-uh.
They were not
The-
popular.
No.
One too many congressmen got a ticket in the mail and said, "This is bull crap." They outlawed that, so if you're gonna get a ticket, the cop has to pull you over and ticket you right then.
Some of the jurisdictions in Arizona are still using them. They put some portable units out on the freeways and out on the outlying roads for a while, but they pulled them back. The same kind of thing. With legislature funding.
I never got it.
Somebody big and important got a ticket and said
And
no.
the fine was horrendous.
Somebody
It was
that
really
got caught someplace they didn't want to be caught at.
friend's
Yeah.
son, they said he ran the red light on Dysart and McDowell, and he knew he hadn't. He knew it was yellow when he entered, which is still legal if it's yellow. And so he fought it, and it was $250 for him for the fine on that. But they told him he should pay, but he fought it and proved that he was not at fault. So they didn't. I'm glad they took him out. They were a mess. it made people slow down to a point, but some of them waited until they saw that yellow light and then they would slam on their brakes, so that would cause accidents
So you
behind
take that
them.
one at bedtime, the Coreg. I think you're probably okay to not take it until you do your bedtime, because your blood pressure is good right now. So,
It's good.
unless you want to take it.
Oh, you gave it to me, didn't you?
No, that's not the one I gave you.
I don't know if I dare check that.
That's
Half
how
of
I
a year
feel.
left?
Well, you can stretch it, put it on your right, but then you have to change the setting.
You have to cross your arm over your chest. So,
Do you think those are as accurate as the ones above the elbow with the cuff?
no, but they're pretty accurate.
Are they? Okay.
I've checked them when he first got that. I got out my manual blood pressure cuff and checked it, and it was
Compared?
pretty close
Well,
to the
that's good to
same.
know. They weren't at first, that's why I
Do
asked.
this while it's
Yeah,
when
he
it
took
first
that to
came
the
out.
doctor, I think, and had to check that or check it.
Good, that's good to know.
So you turn it on,
I push start.
We have
is it pumping up?
the kind that go above our elbows, but they're self-inflating. That's all, I don't have to bump. I don't know what I'm doing this
Well, I've got one in the drawer that's like that.
I got that because it's convenient.
You know, it depends on which article you read, but they say that we should only have it taken maybe twice a year, but once a year is better. Have you heard that?
No.
No,
That's what
people
the
in the
article
hospital get them
constantly.
sometimes
Yeah.
if they're very sick. It's every 4 hours or more.
Right. There was in Lane's Home, Good
You need to put
Housekeeping,
it down like
there was
this,
an article
Why?
just
What was
recently about that.
and turn it on.
If you are
And
in
then gradually raise
generally
it towards your
good
chin.
health, they say you do not need to monitor your blood pressure, and once a year at a doctor's annual visit is enough for most all of us on this earth, which
To monitor blood pressure.
blood pressure, that's what it said.
Well, if it's not high, you don't really need to be monitoring it. But a lot of people have high blood pressure.
That's what I was gonna say,
Don't
how do
know
you
it.
know if you don't take it?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people get it checked every year or twice a year, and it's fine, and it's not likely to change
Right,
unless
Hopefully.
your medical status changes. So.
yeah.
But if you do have high blood pressure, you need to check it all the time. Especially if you take medicine, you should always check it before you take
Yours,
your
huh?
blood pressure medicine.
I just barely figured out how to use it.
Is that a blood pressure cuff?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to talk when you're having a taken, right?
Or sneeze or hiccup?
What was Steve?
Or think about stressful things. Or splits your arms.
Come on, turn on Fox News, let's see what it did to him.
Does Jade have a version of Fox News?
Mhm.
Good help.
Fox
You've been
News,
talking to
I
Aunt
think
Barbara.
if we put on Fox News, everybody's blood pressure would go up.
143, 101.
Yours is high.
Yeah,
That's
it
high.
is.
That's a lot higher than Dad's is right now.
Give me a Corey.
That's too high.
That actually
He
is.
must need to eat.
The bottom number is kind of scary, Jade. That's not.
You gotta give up your CDL if you're that high on the bottom number.
Yeah, you
Really?
can't be above 90.
Wonder if I could get one.
What's,
It's
Bring it
the
over.
machine.
You gotta be 90.
It's not my blood pressure,
what
it's
does
the
it
machine.
say?
Well, Marlene said she has a manual one. I could check it for you.
How do you do this?
Okay, put it
101
on.
is this low,
your left
195
wrist.
over 101, that's high.
Put it down by your belly
It says
button.
it's the machine.
Push start.
195.
Isn't that what he just said, 195?
And slowly
over
raise it up
140.
towards your chest.
5 over
Oh,
101.
To heart
145.
level.
Yeah.
But that's still
Then
high.
it'll-
The
Then it'll
101
start
is
pumping up when you
concerning.
get to the right
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
Jade, I
So do you
didn't know
stop
you
then,
had
or-
these problems.
I have had, the only time I had good blood pressure, like I said, was when I was down around 200 pounds.
You might need to see a doctor for that.
Yeah, start exercising.
Because you're young to have high blood
I'll
pressure
teach
like
you how to
that.
meditate.
You don't want to stroke out.
Well, if it's high your whole life, then your
Then it gets higher the older you
cardiovascular
get.
system's all strong, right?
No.
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 You guys can
You
come
can
up with
tell
more excuses.
It's got little muscles in the veins and stuff.
It just blows them out sooner, and you end up with all kinds of kidney problems,
That's the problem,
heart
is that it hurts
problems,
all of
and
your organs.
You start getting chest
you
pains.
go into heart failure. You start getting swelling in your feet all the time.
I call swelling in my foot by
186, 112. I bet.
Yeah.
What's yours?
What?
What did he just say?
186, 112.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
sorry.
there's
that
something wrong
must
with the
be off.
machine.
I'm hoping that machine is not accurate.
I don't think the
Well,
machine's
mine-
accurate.
That means that your dad is probably higher than it says he is.
Well,
only
his
not
was
been-
lower, so maybe his is on the low side.
You put it right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Start.
Mine's only not.
We'll
been
put it
normal.
lower.
What?
Hold it down by your belly button.
Your arm.
Well, you know, I had a
Your
doctor
arm.
take mine with that,
Amanda.
one of those.
I know, but you're
They
supposed
didn't
to touch
tell
your
you
body
that-
with
Well, you just
They
hold
just
it
told
down
me to
and
put
then
it
you
up
raise
by
it
my
up.
heart.
it. Why do you raise it up?
You didn't have to raise it up. I don't know why,
I
what
don't
the difference
think
You
is.
take your blood pressure
That's
at
what Dean said
the heart
about this
level,
one. You
don't
gotta
you?
move it slowly up, and most of the time it won't take mine.
Oh.
You just move it up and it'll start to pump up.
I think it takes a baseline down low and then it.
You're really gonna confuse it.
Just leave it there.
So actually, don't they tell you to have the cup at essentially heart level?
Yeah.
Did it pump up?
Well, if
When you-
I'm
when
not
you're
really
doing
sure
one
how to
manually.
use that one, but with the
You
other
don't have any
cups, you just
pressure
want to
manually.
have the bottom of it about an inch above
Do
the
I not
oil
look it off
grease.
for
Yeah.
that?
So, but most people,
But when you have to do a wrist or something like that, because you can't get it here, don't they tell you to raise it up to about heart level?
That's why Jade put it up like this over his
no,
chest.
I think it's just that machine. But for
It's
the
supposed to-
manual
Maybe we
cups,
gotta go slower.
I don't think it matters.
Just raise it up slower and then it'll pump up when you, it'll go beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, I always had trouble getting the thing to do anything too.
This particular one.
Or you can go to Walgreens and stick your arm in the same one that everybody else is sweating.
Or Walmart.
Oh,
Go higher.
Tight now.
he loves to say things like that.
Neil.
Did you move your shirt back? Okay.
I need to
Neil,
secure it more tightly on my.
I think
Maybe
it needs
turn
to
it
be
to the-
further down on your towards your wrist, and you want it firm. You don't want it really tight, but you want it firm.
after Neil got home from his mission, he would not let us take him to Texas Roadhouse for his birthday because he was not going to ride the damn saddle while we sang happy birthday to him. So we took him to a place called McGrath's Fish House. And he didn't know that at McGrath's Fish House, when they came out to sing happy birthday, they had this great big monster pirate's hat that they would sit on
There
your
was
head.
a trout that they made into a hat. It was this big fish.
Anyway, so you're wearing this stupid hat while they sing happy birthday to you. And they come out and set it on his head and start singing. And he sit there just
Really
lips first. And he was furious. And I said, Neil, you know how many sweaty heads that thing's been on? And he had a complete come apart. He did not want that.
Did it ever take it, Mandy?
No, but it was beeping.
Yeah,
It
started.
beeps. It beeps slowly down low.
I think you're supposed to have. It's supposed to be on the side of your wrist that your thumb is on.
Was
So
it?
you need to
I
turn it
just
over.
put it on like I was wearing a watch.
Yeah, well, it recorded you too high too.
I moved it much slower.
There's a picture diagram on the back of the
Yeah.
strip.
See how this part is right by the thumb, so it's like this, and you've got it like this. Not like that.
What?
Does it matter whether you're left-handed or right-handed?
No, because unless your blood vessels are reversed.
My blood pressure reads more accurately for my left arm than it does my right.
Are you left-handed?
I am not, I'm
Why do you have to
right-handed.
have it in?
But ever since my heart surgery,
I
they
don't
can
know.
get a more accurate
This one is
reading
a
on my
little
left
different.
arm.
You have heart surgery?
I did. I had a triple bypass.
Higher.
The day that my daughter
There you go.
got married, so I missed her wedding.
Higher.
Oh my.
What are you saying about?
She didn't know I'd had heart surgery.
Oh,
A little higher and it'll kick on.
So did they cut your chest open?
Oh, yes. All the way down.
That's lower.
That's fun.
on a Tuesday morning.
I don't get how you guys know this.
Because it's closer
Hillary
to your
was
heart.
married Friday.
Yeah, it wasn't the day that
I
I
think
missed
it
her
must have
wedding.
a sensor that detects your
She
heartbeat.
was 30 when she got married. We've been
It's
waiting a long time
pressure.
for her to get married.
Which one was this?
Water in it.
Hillary.
You ever seen a water level?
Yeah, so we Skyped her reception so that I could at least see
Good.
who was there and
Probably not very accurate, but
see what was going on in
Mine's
reception.
always
I just
been
didn't let them see me.
normal.
95 over
Oh, I was in
54.
the hospital with
So
all
that
these
was the
tubes and
theory of
junk
it
on me,
being
so.
high for you
Did
guys.
you have a heart attack?
But
or
it might be
something?
that it was high for you
I
guys
was having
because your wrists are
symptoms,
bigger.
and when they took me in, I had enough pressure, is what I say. It really didn't hurt so much, but enough pressure that I would get up and he'd find me gone in the middle of the night, and I was out in the loft sitting in my lazy boy, because if I sat at that angle, the pressure wasn't as bad as when I laid flat in bed. And I did that for how many nights? And you find
2 nights.
2 nights, and
The second night I realized what the hell she was doing. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. So I went down and got a nitro tablet out of my medicine bag, handed her a nitro and said, take this. If the pain goes away, we're on our way to the hospital. She took it, sure as hell. The pain went away and we went in. And talking to the cardiologist, tell me what had happened, and told him that I'd given her 1 nitro so that they wouldn't be overdosing her as they were doing stuff in the emergency room. And he says, where did you get a nitro? I said, it was mine. I said, was that bad? And he says, no. He says, you probably saved her life.
Wow.
She was that close.
tell what part of the heart, it's called the widowmaker, where the vessels, oh, he's got it on his phone, I keep
The
forgetting.
left anterior
I don't know if I still got it or not.
I heard a cat go flying up the hall.
Yeah.
Was it Bootsy?
What was the yellow one?
The yellow one?
Yeah. Bounced off the wall
TK.
a little bit.
I call him Petey Pie.
Anyway, wherever that artery or vein, whatever it's called, that's where it's all plugged and hurting, so that's why they did the surgery.
Did you ever get it, Mandy?
Mine was good, but I want to try it again.
She doesn't believe it.
Mine's only not been good one time.
Oh.
Were you
So
pregnant?
I've always wanted, I was going in for surgery, and I did have a lot going on, but
Mine's always been good.
Actually, that manual
Like
one
you
is
said,
down
you
there
knew
at
it was
the
gonna
bottom
be
drawer.
bad.
I think it is anyway. You'll probably have to pull on both of
what
them.
is the PP?
I'm not as active as I used to be.
There it is, right there.
I don't work as hard at UDOT as I used to.
Oops. You killed it.
Well, I just got knocked 2 months of sitting in an
That's
office.
in the automatic one too.
Yeah.
Right in here.
You look like you're in a lot better shape than me.
He says if this one closes off, he says you don't survive that one. This one's closed off here, and it's closed off here.
Yeah, you can tell because they're not as big.
a few years later, my sister that lives up in Portland, they found the same thing with her, because she was having symptoms as well. And she refused to have the surgery. She did not
Do you want
want
to
to
try
have
this
her
one?
chest cracked
Let
open,
me try
so
that
they're
one
just
again.
managing hers with meds. But I don't know how well it's managing, because since then,
Well then,
she has had gout
yours
in
might
her
be
feet
bigger.
and
Yours might be that you have a bigger
circulation
wrist.
big
But
time.
sometimes-
So I'm not,
You have to
I mean, it's
change the.
personal
Should I make
choice,
this
but
looser? It
I
got pretty
still
tight.
think that I'm better off
Um,
having the surgery than.
How tight do you
Probably.
put that on?
Take
You don't want it to be
medication
real
now,
tight.
Take
It
metoprolol
shouldn't be
once,
blocking
well,
your blood flow until
half
it
a tablet
inflates.
twice a day, so.
Oh, it wasn't until,
That's gonna come all the way up.
That happened
That shirt.
in March of 11, and then May of 12, we died. September of 12, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. So we didn't like 12 at all. That was a yucky year for us.
Are you all right now?
You didn't know I had colon cancer either? Oh, I had colon cancer.
Yeah, I do. All of a sudden that pops in. I remember Dean talking about it.
Yeah, I did, and I got along famously well. I really did. I was able to drive myself to, other than when you insisted, I drove myself to chemo and radiation treatments. And they did the surgery in September, right? October, somewhere.
1st September.
1st of September, and they cut out between 10 and 12 inches of my colon and took the mass with it, and I went through what I had to go through, but I'm doing fine.
It was a stage 4, but they got on top of it.
I had the ileostomy for 10 months, 11 months, almost a year. So
126.78, what's that?
That's perfect.
126
As
over
normal as I
78
can
is a
call
lot
myself
better.
normal.
Myself,
So I guess it was too tight.
80 over 120 is your target.
Now I'm curious if I had it too tight.
Exactly, it was like Crohn's disease.
I could play this game all
And
day.
they had to take her, I don't know how much it is.
And make sure that you don't
So,
tense your
is it
arm.
a ileostomy or a colonoscopy
I
bag?
got pretty good
Yeah.
chance.
So they can
Worst
reverse
one.
it if the.
Well, my daughter says that they can't, I guess because he had
So much removed.
so much removed, yeah.
He's gonna live with it the rest of his life. He has to live with it the rest of his life.
Yes, he's
And-
had it for years
And
and
his
years.
was Crohn's, Joe, like me has,
Alright.
because the bowel.
Well, I think that's what George Cadich's was Crohn's. And he had to have
I didn't know his was that,
it's not an ileostomy when it's on the, what is it when it's on
a
the,
coloscopy, yeah. And it's
Well, it
permanent.
could be an ileostomy on either side, but
well, the
usually
ileostomy's on the small intestine prior to the colon, isn't it?
it
That's
can
how
be
mine
anywhere
was.
in the. I've seen ileostomies over here. It
Really?
just depends on how much bowel they have to work with. Where they put it usually colostomies are over here, but
To me, that was the hardest part, because to get that patch to stick onto the skin to form that seal was hard to do, and then it would start getting raw and sore, and
Good,
you
just
didn't have
gets-
any alternative but
just
to
like
keep working.
that, you get your skin just raw, just so fast.
Just
Did you have
the-
that?
I had the ileostomy for almost a year after my surgery, yeah.
I spent a lot of time trying to fix those.
Joe was my nurse, he really helped me through. Because you really cannot do it yourself at first. You really cannot, because not only was I weak and
Left
Well,
us
just
it was
not
a-
functioning.
it was a
Yeah,
fairly
you
awkward-
can't see it.
Awkward spot to be able to do, and
It was a hard spot, is right. There were a few times that I tried to do it, but
you did do it.
I did do
And
it,
when
but it
it's really
wasn't.
liquid and it just
So, yeah.
leaks and it's red, yeah.
You
And
if we
I'm
tried to
still
go
just
beyond the
amazed
third
that they're
day, we
even-
run into trouble almost every time.
that is available to do that with your body. I mean, that you, it's like I was saying to Mandy the other night, you just, a few years ago, people just died. You just couldn't fix things like they can fix them now, so it's amazing.
Was it painful? After they cut out that?
There was no pain. There is no nerve in the colon.
Oh.
No nerves is the correct.
Well, where you were attached
The-
was where they
like the
looped up the
sensory
small
nerves
intestine.
that would sense pain. So that's why, like, when people have appendicitis, a lot of times they'll have pain on the opposite side, or it takes a long time for them to realize
What it is.
what it
really.
is, because you have nerve on your skin that tells you what things feel like, but you don't really have that in your belly because you don't really need it.
What he was just describing of where they attached that ileostomy bag, that would get raw, and that was painful because it was
On
so.
the surface of
so-
the skin.
The adhesive, was it?
Well, it had a patch like this that had you would trim according to the size of the opening, and then you'd put a skin prep on, which was designed
To make it more adhesive.
to make it adhesive plus protect the skin itself. You'd put a prep on it, and you'd put this patch on, and that had a plastic snap-on ring that you would attach the pouch to.
Wow.
And
It's weird.
and
It's weird.
you'd get, and if all of a sudden in the middle of trying to do this, your bowel would expel something,
It seems inevitable that it does too. It's my
You'd have
experience.
either have to start
Right,
all over
when you
again,
get it all
or
ready to go, and then it's
And
like,
when
oh,
it-
I gotta clean it up again.
And when it's just straight bile, like you say, it's just so liquid that it just
And
goes
it's really hard
everywhere.
and
And that burns
the
your
ammonia
skin.
that was in the system that would come out would be what would burn her. And if that spilled and got on her, man, you had to get that cleaned up quicker. It would almost immediately start burning her skin. It was that strong.
So how does stomach acid not burn through you
You,
when it's in your stomach?
you have special cells in your stomach and your intestines that, I forget exactly how it works, but there are special cells that are designed to not
It'll withstand it.
That's why, like people that drink a lot, they damage that lining and then they get ulcers.
Pickled their liver, like they say.
Yeah. Like if you
Well, but like she's saying, it ruins that
Lining.
Protect
lining of the stomach and the intestine.
and then other stuff can get through. Or like people that eat a lot of hot spicy foods can damage that lining, and then
People eat.
there's nothing.
This is a good subject to go eat.
You don't want to talk about wounds.
I don't
and
mind talking
losing-
about it. I'm just,
It's hungry time, huh?
After talking about colons and stuff, I think I'm
that's
gonna
part of
start
the
a new
course.
diet.
I'm so used to it. I could just.
That's what I was gonna say, you're just,
Sometimes we
Got
sit in
your
the break
bear-
room and discuss things like, yeah, so that oozing.
I'm
glue,
used to
what
it
are
not
we
being a
gonna do
family
about that?
gathering if we don't have at least one story about poop.
Did you have a chance to look at that bowel movement? I'm not really sure if we need to test it for
Ward's wife, Randy, when they were down New Year's time, we got to talking about a thing that we'd seen on TV on Funny Home Videos or something where the dad had changed the diaper and played like he'd changed the diaper, but he actually took the diaper and put chocolate pudding in it.
mashed up candy
Anyway,
bar or something.
We got laughed about it, talked about it, and Randy decided she was going to do that to Ward because Ward has the weakest stomach of anybody you can imagine.
And plus it's his son. His son is worse than Ward.
But she came in one night with a diaper and said, "Ward, look at this," and put it up there in his face. And he, no. Randy went, "It's not bad. See, look. See, it's okay." Oh my.
She said something like, "Can you believe the color of this? Look at this, Ward." Right in front of his face, and he just about died.
Oh, that was
He used
funny.
to.
So we gonna go eat? Is that what we're doing?
I think
I think so. 'Cause
I vote for eating.
I sure haven't started that roast, and that's going to be a
How
long
about you,
time.
Nate? Are you still voting for eating?
I don't care.
He took his little pregnant with him on the truck once, and Mort had gas because of whatever he had eaten. So he stopped to use the bathroom.
Do you want to go to the bathroom before
Break
we
in
go?
the stall with him because he was
Yeah.
little enough that he didn't want to leave him alone. And when Ward proceeded to use the bathroom, that poor little Braden threw up because of the smell of it. Ward had
Put down
passed
in
gas.
Barstow.
Braden-
Oh, that would have to smell really bad for you to throw up.
Poor little kid.
You'd be stuck with your pants around your ankles trying to clean up.
He was only about 3, maybe 4, I don't know.
I'll call the restaurant and we should be able to be seated in 30 to 35 minutes.
How long does it take to get there? It's just
So
order on
are
the
they
front
gonna
of
take a
it.
reservation, or
Huh?
are they gonna take a reservation, or do we have to be there before they'll put us on the list?
Mom wrote him letters. We went to Fairwood for the funeral. It was beautiful and nice. Oh, wish you could have been there. Love you. Talk to you. Write you another letter next week.
So he sat there for a week wondering who
Wondering if
died.
Grandpa and Grandma had passed away or who it was that had actually died. No, it was Grandpa's brother.
So we just kind of think Barbara comes by it rightly.
Wow. Well, Joe, I do remember when the Meals on Wheels came by, when Grandma passed away, and you were there, and they were bringing one diet and one regular for Grandma and Grandpa, one diabetic and one regular.
Did I embarrass you?
No, you were telling the story. I didn't hear it. And the Meals on Wheels guy, you told him, we only need one. My mother has passed away. And he said, is that the regular or the diet? And you were so offended. I mean, you were just like, "Rrrr."
You really told him off, did you, Joseph?
I can't imagine.
Well, I didn't see it happen. You were just telling the story. You were just
I
like,
forgot all about that.
yeah.
I've never heard that because he had been up to St. George for several days and then he came home and that's the night she died.
Oh.
So he had barely gotten into bed basically, and Butch called and said she had passed.
Was she in the hospital?
Mm-hmm. She was.
All you need your coat or shoes.
She actually died
fighting the
on his birthday.
last
Oh.
effects of
14th
her
of March.
diabetes. It was, and I think it was
Bowel
basically
obstruction.
your kidneys had shut down. That's what was going on. That's what finally took her. The diabetes had just destroyed her organs. Yeah.
Baby cat, you wanna go outside?
So you told off the Meals on Wheels guy.
Well, I don't know what you said to the Meals on Wheels guy. You were just, you were really
Just
shook
really
up
callous, like, he
emotionally.
just was like, which one meal is it?
I mean, you
Like,
were
"Oh, I'm
grieving your
sorry
mom's
that-"
death, and here's this guy going, is that the diet or the regular,
We gotta get this down right.
Like, he didn't really care that somebody had died. He just cared about which meal he needed to keep bringing.
Well, imagine he probably has customers pass away all the time, but
Yeah, you should
he
try to
should
be
be sensitive.
sympathetic.
Well, he wants to be sensitive. We need to cut out the diet with the regular one. Who died?
Well, it seems like they had their names on the tickets, too.
I would think so.
He could have looked at the ticket and said,
Maybe he was gonna give it to somebody else. Or eat it himself, who knows? I cut you off in the middle of your story.
Yeah, you were telling us about the herbs and stuff that she hadn't informed you about.
Okay, well, see, I don't know a lot about herbs. I don't know if you guys do.
Not really.
I'm not really into it, but, so, I'm doing birth and stuff, and she's, like, bringing me, like, these concoctions with, like, cayenne pepper.
For you to ingest?
Just bizarre stuff. And I was just like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not having that, you know? And it was just, she brought this aide with her to watch the birth, and who I never met before, and I was just like, I don't
want her in here. I'd have told her.
It was just, we had put, instead of plastic sheets, which we should have done, we put a shower curtain on the bed, and it was just so incredibly uncomfortable, and just, it was just, I mean, the birth went well and everything, but I probably shouldn't say some part of it. Like, our cat was in the house, and I didn't see this. I did not see this, but somebody said that the cat came up and started eating the
placenta. Oh.
Yeah.
I never saw that.
I never saw that, but I was just like, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Neil's wife had her baby end October and November.
December.
Okay. But they were in the hospital up there in Rexburg, and when the baby started coming, the cord was wrapped around leg and neck, or just leg.
Twice around his legs and once around his arm.
But as the baby started coming through the birth canal, it started ripping the placenta away from the wall, and she literally was starting to hemorrhage. Had they not been in the hospital, they could have not got to a hospital fast enough to
They'd have lost her and the baby.
Oh, wow.
That's how fast it was happening.
That's how bad she was bleeding
Did
and
they
how
have to
fast
do
she
an
was bleeding.
emergency
Yes,
C-section?
they did a section on her. And thank goodness all is well now, but it could have been so different. And the part that was ironic, as 15 years to that day, was the day that Justin's first baby was born, stillborn, because of his cord around his neck, or his arm. He had laid on it and cut off his supply. So he was a stillborn on that very day.
Full-term baby.
Yeah, he was.
Because the cord wrapped around, and as he got into the birth canal, the pre-labor
Well,
positioning the baby.
he had died in her womb 2 days before he was delivered. They induced the delivery. She knew he had passed because he had stopped moving. So
When Kevin was born, she had gone into early labor and wound up doing an emergency C-section for Kevin at 6 weeks.
7.5 weeks preemie. Because he had flipped inside of me so much, he'd tied a knot in the cord. So I started hemorrhaging because of that, because the blood has to go somewhere when it doesn't get the nutrients to the baby. And that's why I went in.
But he was in ICU at
St. Joseph.
St. Joseph's Hospital in there, Phoenix, for 10 days. But the thing that was so bad about our stay there, down at the end of the
NICU unit.
ICU, was a little baby, perfectly healthy baby, that had ingested amniotic fluid as it was being born.
And the meconium, yeah, in the process of birth.
And the reason that happened is they were at home with a midwife, and it was a little LDS mother that was going to just do everything absolutely natural and so on.
And save money. That's what it boiled down to. It was cheaper at home. They almost lost their baby because of it.
I just...
If we would have been in the hospital, Jace, we would have lost him. She was in labor, and the doctor said he could just push his head and then float back. He just wasn't engaging.
That's how Hillary did.
I mean, he came out with his head, and the doctor was just looking at his head, and he's like, that never would have happened.
I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did somebody empty the dishwasher?
No, it hasn't been emptied, so those are dirty.
Okay, so
Right.
all those things
Did
in the
you didn't empty the dishwasher, right,
silverware
Jade?
drawer thing that was in there last night, it's not clean?
Nobody ran
We've
it.
been adding to it, so we'll have to run it again.
Okay. That's what I thought, so I wanted to ask.
What I remember about Amanda having Shade at home is her.
Did it run
in the
last
midst
night?
of her delivery
Did we make a
saying,
mistake?
"I want drugs!" And we all just were like, well, too bad.
Too late now.
I remember thinking, oh no.
I thought that was with Diesel.
No, that was with Shade because I wasn't there when And,
I would have wanted drugs with Diesel.
and then when it was over, she said, "That
Holy.
wasn't so bad." And we were all looking at each other
I don't
like,
have
"Are you
much
crazy?"
patience with mothers that want to be all natural and have them at home when you got professional people there to help take care of an emergency.
Well, most new first-time mothers don't realize how much can go wrong.
Well, I'll tell you what made the. I didn't have an opinion on it, and I took this class at Dixie. I think it was like a child development, and the professor was up there saying, you know, natural is better, and he went into all this detail about it and stuff. And so I was thinking, well, I'm going to do it the smart way. I'm not going to go to this medical way. And so that was part of my decision. But in hindsight, I mean, I was really blessed that, you know, I had a good delivery and a very, very healthy baby.
That's right.
But I would definitely, you know, want to do it in the hospital again. You know, I mean, especially with everything that can
And that's
go
what
wrong.
experience teaches you. I apologize if I sound like I'm putting you down, but
No, that's okay.
With our grandkids, I've been a hell of a lot more concerned about
Their deliveries. Just
than
because
I
we
ever was with any
know.
of our own kids, just because of all of the things that I've seen happen over the years.
Yeah.
It just scares the heck. When they say, "Oh, we're going to have a baby," I go, "Oh shit." Some people get all excited, but I go, "Man, I sure hope everything goes okay."
My mom lost her first two, you know, because she had the incompetent cervix.
Right.
And so she had special
It was awful.
deliveries with the four of us. And her grandmother, my grandpa's mom had, how many babies did she lose?
I think she lost like 11.
She lost something like.
They said she had a graveyard in her backyard that was
She had
a line of gravestones.
And she only had 3 that lived.
That's the Cornelius side?
She only had 3 that lived, and one of them was my grandpa. Out of all these babies, and so I think that maybe my mom's condition was from her grandma.
Maybe.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you said she only lost 2. I thought there were 4.
There were 2.
Yes.
2.
But she conceived more than that, didn't she?
She lost 2. She lost 2 early on. Early in her pregnancy.
But the one.
Did she lose 2 early? Because
for 10
weren't
minutes.
that early though, because they both were alive when they were born.
Amy and Emmy were both delivered in the hospital, like full-term babies.
I just know it was awfully
Or
hard.
maybe they were a little bit preemie, but it was far enough along that they were all ready to have a baby. Well, she spent 4 months drinking because of me.
What? Oh, see, I didn't learn that story until later.
She had like premature labor or something. The
She
doctor
had to have vodka. That's right. I remember.
She was taking a shot of vodka like every hour
That's
for
right,
4 months with
because
me.
that calms the uterine contractions down. That is true.
That's what the stake president that was Anise's
Obstetrician.
obstetrician told her, he says, you just need to drink a glass of wine every evening.
Did you do it?
No, I didn't ever. Trevor was 7.5 weeks pre-me. And then Alan was 5.5 weeks pre-me. Then Kyle and Justin and Lee were all okay until Hillary was, like you said, should just float back up.
And Kevin was preemie.
And then Kevin was pre-me. Again, just as early as Trevor was, 7.5 weeks. But Ward, he was easy to deliver because he was so darn long. He just pushed him right out. Lori McCarroll, her birthday was yesterday. She was 24 inches at birth.
Wow.
That's a long baby.
I think Jace was 22.
That's pretty good size. That's what Ward was, 22.5.
I'll tell you another thing I do different is, because I didn't do an epidural, I didn't have pain medication in the hospital, and I wouldn't do that again. I would take the pain medication.
Yes, yeah.
Because it was, nobody talks about this, but it's like emotionally traumatizing.
Yeah. To say nothing of
Nobody-
the physical side of it.
Nobody's ever talked about that part of it, but I'll tell you, I was crazy. I was I had the postpartum depression with Diesel. And I remember when he came out and everybody was like, oh, this baby, and I was just like, I didn't care. It was so bizarre. It was just, I wasn't.
Now, is that why you said what you did? If you didn't want to be there for Diesel?
No, just he was a 10-pound baby.
Oh my.
Well, no, 9 and 1.
Whatever, he was giant.
He was growing up.
He was a little fatty, yeah.
He was a big baby, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
He was huge. I think all my kids were 7 pounds, 6 ounces. Or
Real close to the same weight, huh?
They
Well,
were
I
all
remember Mary had a baby.
real close to the same
Her
size and
youngest
weight.
is a little bit older than Diesel, and I saw him when he was a baby, and I couldn't believe, I said something about how I couldn't believe he was older than Diesel, and Mary just started laughing, and she's like, well, Diesel kind of had a head start.
Who's Mary?
9 pounds.
Amanda's best friend.
Oh,
But
okay.
she's
I
been
was mixed up with,
friends forever.
Well, Shade was 9 pounds too. I
Shade
thought
was-
Diesel was bigger than Shade, and Shade was 9 pounds.
Diesel was 9'1".
I remember that we weighed Shade with Darren's fish scale.
How long was Diesel?
I don't think he was just massive.
Was
Just-
he
Always been massive.
Big, muscular.
different to deliver than his brother had been? Was he harder?
They induced me
Oh, yeah.
because I went 12 days over with Shade,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to do that again. I mean, 12 days of
Well, an induction is in itself a harder delivery.
and so I was induced without pain medication,
Oh dear.
and so I think the hormones were partly what made it such a.
I don't know. I've had inductions that way too. I know what you're saying. It's just, you just kind of, I always thought, okay, I can handle this, because even with Trevor, my very longest labor I had from start to finish was Trevor, and he was 3 hours.
Really? Oh, Elena was 20 hours.
Oh dear.
But I remember they said that sometimes when you have the longer labors, it's easier because they're not as intense. You get a little bit of a break between contractions usually.
Shut up.
I
I wasn't having the kid, and I was out of my mind.
So hard is that they were so strong. And supposed
They-
to
I-
Another break, huh?
They couldn't put the epidural in her
He
quick
passed
enough.
out. How many times did you pass
Just
out?
with Nina, with the third kid.
You're related to your Uncle Joe. When he went to the hospital to see Butch after he had had his appendix out, he leaned over like this to look at the stitches and went whoop right into his stomach.
Well, that's they put the IV in her wrist or
Yeah.
whatever. Actually, it was through the top of the hand, and I did something and looked at her, and I could just see the needle raised out of the, and I went, oh, I'm gonna sit down, and
Couldn't sit down.
all of a sudden I hear all the doctors and nurses calling my name, and I'm like, why am I laying down? It's like, oh no, I fainted.
They made me sit down.
And then I got up in the chair, and they were paying way more attention. I was like, she's having a baby. Leave me alone. I'm fine.
When I went in the labor room with Anise when they did the C-section for her twins, they had two nurses standing there to hold me up. So if I started to faint, that I didn't screw up something in the operating room.
And I was laying there watching up on the big mirrors and stuff.
I did all right, but they had two nurses literally standing there to catch me if I started to.
So with Sydney, I just sat in the chair the whole time.
Did you? You knew your limits.
It's like, I'm not taking any chances this time. I don't want that embarrassment.
Alma John fainted with both of his kids too. It must be something about the men in our family.
It's a genetic thing.
It must be. It's the
It
gender
is.
for sure.
There's
My brother Steve faints at blood a lot of times, and now he's on dialysis
Oh,
3 times a week.
her brother. That's sad.
It's weird.
You know, we were talking about me getting Nathan a test. At least was in labor almost 48 hours with him.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what in the world they were doing. If
Wow.
I had to do over, I would have threw a fit out there in the middle of that hospital.
We were minutes
But
away.
I think that
Do you think that's part of the problem?
part of the problem.
It could be from the pressure.
That's,
They ended up doing a
Birth
C-section.
I got a cousin that has problems because of they've been using
Forceps. They pulled him out.
forceps to pull him out.
See, they
You
did
know
that with
Keith, don't you? Keith now, Aunt Zola's son.
Oh yeah.
That's what's wrong with
what
him.
happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened to him. Is brain damage from them using forceps to pull him out.
See, those are the kind of stories that I heard.
that
It
scared
made
you.
you say, I'll do it at home. Yeah.
But you would have lost the baby at home without the forceps.
That's the thing. There's
There-
6s of each.
There are things
I mean,
that go
it
in
was-
the hospitals that are not ideal. My friend, her sister's a labor and delivery nurse, and she has stories about nurses that will go in and, like, the next shift will come in and they would come in early and turn up the drips on their
Pitocin.
patients so they would deliver, so they would
There he
to
is.
speed it up and things like that, but it's more based on what's convenient for the staff than what's best for the mother and baby. And
Well, we had